This is for Connecticut voters, particularly in Western Connecticut. I am Mark Stewart, and this is my first and thus far only recommendation for U.S. Congress in this state. It is for the 5th District. It is for George Logan. I'm fervent about recommending because of three things that George has that are irrespective of his also being a nice guy and a dedicated person. I've met him twice. As some of you know, I don't really care if somebody's nice. I don't care about how well or poorly they've raised their family. I care about values they bring and energy they bring, and for some candidates, about guts. George Logan has guts. I say that about almost any, but there are very few of them, prominent African American conservatives, because it takes guts to stand up in your community that generally hates you for expressing anything other than the party line of Democrat and statism. And for a good long time, George has stood up. He's been a state senator. He's now running for Congress, and we need more George Logans. That's not just the 5th District. That's everywhere in Congress. Black conservatives, or any conservatives with guts, deserve to be elected. Please consider that as perhaps your number one issue. Guts as in when you are about to have your whole neighborhood turning against you because you're not a Democrat. When your kids might have their friends saying, why is your daddy not part of that? When you have even your elders around you saying, I didn't raise you to be this way. It's tough to put them at a distance or maybe try to bring them in. But when you have somebody willing to do that with personal at stake along with career, you ought to respect that when they do get to Congress, they are going to handle tough issues well. With great respect for us, I know George Logan listens to what voters have in mind, with some deference to what conservatives generally would like, but I expect with an individualism that we don't see very much of in Congress, especially in the Northeast, which is almost all blue. I have argued elsewhere, and I've asked Republicans desperately for what I call black in blue. Yes, elevating more conservative African Americans to run for posts. The Northeast is a swath of blue. From New Jersey all the way to Maine, we have one elected representative who is red. West Coast has that too. We need, and I think with African Americans who are standing up for very American values, okay? Conservatism helps the cause of those who are not privileged by the state right now, doing their work, toiling with state burdens that ought to be lifted. Please look not only at George, but hopefully to other African American candidates, and maybe encouraging even more so that people like Logan are not the exception, the black conservative who's rare, but the norm.